Hello friends, welcome to the fourth experiment of Object Oriented Programming Laboratory Second Year Information Technology 2019 pattern. Now, in the last practical, we have started learning about the inheritance. Now, connected with the inheritance, there is very important concept called as dynamic binding, which is also called as a runtime polymorphism in the object oriented programming languages. Now, from the Java's point of view, how this concept of runtime polymorphism is implemented, that we are going to see. If you learn about C++, there is a concept called as virtual function, which is used, and in the similar way, we are going to make use of a dynamic method dispatch of dynamic binding in Java programming language. So, how to do this one? This practical will show you and demonstrate the similar concept with a practical problem statement. So, let us go for the problem statement first. What exactly the problem statement is present here? Okay, so number 4, design a base class shape with two double values and member function to input the data and compute area for calculating area of shape. Derive two classes, triangle and rectangle. Make compute area as a stack function and redefine this function in the derived class to suit their requirements. Write a program that accepts dimensions of triangle or rectangle and display calculated area. Implement dynamic binding for the given case study. Yes, dynamic binding, just like polymorphism, the runtime polymorphism, we are going to implement this. So let's copy this and I'll go for my project again. So let's create one more file here called as dynamic. Okay, and let's write the problem statement so easy for understanding. Now, okay, to input, let's go statement by statement, create our classes. Okay, and then we'll understand the concept of dynamic binding from the respective program. Okay, so that's done. Okay, so let's create a class whose name is shape. Yes, so here we'll create a class whose name is shape. Fine. And two double type values. So double val1 val2. Okay, so two double type values I have declared in it. And function, member method, it should be method actually. Methods are the members of function, member functions of the class, that are called methods. Okay, methods to input data. So let's have input method here. Okay, so it will input, and one more is given, that is compute area. So compute underscore area. So it's something different. Fine, and compute area. Basically, the method names in the Java class should follow the camel case. Okay, fine. So let's go here, input. So first of all, we need to input the data, and then we'll use that data into the derived classes. So it's also mentioned that you have to create two derived classes, triangle and rectangle. So let's go for that. Class triangle. Okay, extends shape. Fine. And similarly, we'll have one more class, rectangle extends shape. Okay, so both are extending the shape class. Okay, like this. And then now let's go for this. So remember, for triangle and rectangle, both of their shapes, their areas we are going to calculate. We need to remember the formula for that. And one more thing you have to remember, that triangle and rectangle both contains or require only two parameters to generate their area. I'll show that what exactly two values that they require. But let's take the input of the data. Okay, so let's take the input. First of all, I'll ask the enter first value. Okay, first value for first shape, like. Okay, so I need to use the scanner class for that. So let's import java.util.scanner. Okay, scanner is imported, and here I need to create the object of the scanner. So let's create the object scanner. S is equal to new scanner. For what you have to create? Standard input device, tentim.in. Okay, so and now let's initialize the first variable. Val is equal to s dot next double. Okay, because value is double, that's fine. Just to remember that. Next method is to read the data from the user. Okay, so let's take second value, and this is val2. Perfect, val2. Fine. Yeah, second value. So two values I have read from the user, and they are saved into val1 and val2 respectively. Okay, in this way. So it's again we'll go for our problem statement. Function derived compute area, two classes triangle rectangle, make compute area as abstract function. Yes, you have to make compute area as abstract function. So when to make compute area abstract function, so we need to, okay, the class is compute area started here, and so it's not required, just make it abstract void, and this is class. Perfect. Yeah, this is extra, I think. Yeah, now it's correct. See, abstract is the method which does not have any definition, but when any class is getting inherited, that class is getting inherited in another class, the derived class, that is subclass, has to write a definition of it. That is what property that it carries. One more thing, you can just have the error here, shape is not abstract. Abstract methods are declared, so class should also be abstract. Done. Okay, yes, abstract class is declared, abstract methods are declared, and now it's declared. This is a error again, because as I told, this method definition should be written over here. Okay, so now let's write the compute area method. This is what we are going to inherit, and inside the respective subclasses here. So here also I need to declare it. Okay, perfect. Now this compute area will calculate the area of triangle by considering val1 and val2 to it. One more thing, what is the formula for area of the triangle? The triangle area is, general purpose triangles area is just like 1 by 2 into base divided by height. Base divided by height, that is 1 by 2 into b divided by h, base divided by height. That is what the formula is there. So let's use this formula. So what's that? It's double values. So double area, and area is equal to 1.0 f divided by 2.0 f into val1, that is what we call as base of the triangle, and val2. Okay, and now let's print it. Okay, so triangle, spelling missed, triangle area. Triangle area is area here. So area, perfectly correct. So yes, that's done. Triangle's area is calculated like this, and rectangle's area, we know that directly the height into width. So val1 into val2 will be the height and width. Okay, area, rectangle's area, rectangle. This is rectangle's area calculated. Methods are same. Compute area, which you have inherited into the subclasses. Check it out how it is done. So input method reads the data. Abstract method declared here. When you inherited it, it will take the perfect, and then the classes are created. Their implementation of compute area is given by the respective classes here. Important thing is that still we have not used dynamic method dispatch, or not used the dynamic binding here. Now how do you use dynamic binding? That is very important to know. So we'll calculate the triangle's area and rectangle's area also with the help of the same statement. Let's see how it is. Let's go for PSVM. Yeah. Now let's create the object of your shape. Not object. Shapes, what we call as, this is reference variable. This is the reference variable. Make sure this is what we call as reference variable. Okay, it's created. And with the help of reference variable, we are going to call the respective methods. So let's create triangles object T, okay, for triangle, and let's create the rectangles object R, okay, rectangle object. That's done. Now let's see where is dynamic binding now. Let's see S. First of all, S will put with T. Now remember, the superclass reference variable can store the subclass object. That is what the property of Java class inheritance is. So I am assigning the first reference T into it, and now S dot input. Okay, so input method will be called for triangle now. S dot, now second is compute area. Done. Now same concept I'll apply to the R also. See, now it is R. See, you just can check this statement and this statement below, they are exactly same, but the output will be different and they are decided at the runtime. Okay, they are at the runtime, dynamically they are decided. That's why it is called as dynamic binding or the dynamic method dispatch, or we call as runtime polymorphism kind of concept. Same method we are using for different purposes. First of all, this will be called for the triangle, and second turn it's called for the rectangle. Remember, so same method is there. When I assign this object, your subclass object can be assigned to reference variable of superclass. Here also same concept is there, but see, the statements are, though they are same, compiler will check that statements are same, but at runtime interpreter will identify that what exactly the form of the method to call at this particular instance, that is different. That's why it is called a dynamic binding. Okay, so let's try that now. It's completed, program is completed. First of all, we are going to call triangle, second for rectangle. So let's run this. Okay, so first of all, we will ask for the triangles values. So triangles 12 and 10. Okay, it is, I'm getting 60. Okay, getting the 60 here. Sorry, both values are entered together, first and second. Triangles area is 60, that is 1 by 2 into 120, correct, that is 60. And if I am going to use the same values for the rectangle, it is 120. Yes, height into width of the rectangle, that's the area of the rectangle calculated here. This is what we call as dynamic binding. So based on the dynamic, means at runtime this is decided which version of the method to call. Like, this is important concept to know, how we assign the object to the reference variable of the superclass from this subclass, and this is how we are going to call it. So same methods are called. Input method is common for both, but remember, compute area is different. Compute area, first of all, is calculated for T and second time is calculated for R. Okay, so compiler does not decide that, decided by the runtime environment, that is your Java virtual machine, that is your Java interpreter. So this is what we call as a dynamic binding. You can just write the program and check the output. Happy learning. Thank you. Thanks a lot.